No fats, no femmes, no Asians. And it's so incredible because, like, those are all three things that I identify with, albeit I am not a gay man. I think, especially being, like, a fat Asian femme, Asian bodies are always so sexually fetishized. So it's interesting being in a body that is simultaneously fetishized and yet ignored or reviled, especially in relation to fatness. But I think that there is something kind of incredible about the ways that we've internalized devaluation of ourselves and the devaluation of people who look like us. I feel like a lot of queer Asians adopt like a magical unicorn identity when they grow up because it feels like we're really rare, and I always just felt like I was an anomaly. When I did have Asian American community or Korean American community, everybody was thin and like beautiful and like good Asians, and I wasn't. I think my fatness really just added to all the ways that I was different. And so in that difference, it's like you're removed from your community, and when you're removed from your community, you're removed from your identity. It's kind of amazing to be able to meet other queer, fat, femme Asians as an adult, because you really think there's nobody like you, and that ultimately you're going to have to change yourself in order to find some kind of community or like a reflection. And I think it's really exciting to know other fat Asians, first of all, queer fat Asians, fat Asian femmes. Honestly, that really changed. It wasn't until I met other self-identified like fat femmes who were Asian that I realized that that was an identity that I could also have, or that, because for me, for a long time, femme meant white, and femme wasn't accessible to me until I saw other people who look like me doing it and just really being such inspirations. They're incredible. I don't think people in Utah really take time to, I think people still believe that it's really frivolous to put any effort into how you look. I was surrounded by white people. The way I presented myself was how I protected myself. And I would get a lot of stares, but there was also a real comfort in knowing that in some way I kind of controlled that look, or I controlled those gazes, because I was owning the way I looked. And most people of color feel like we're both like hyper visible and yet totally invisible, especially the ways that we do or don't talk about race in society. And it's like every day, and sometimes you forget, and then something like fucked up just brings you right back, and it checks you right back, and it's like, oh, let us not forget that you are different, and people see that difference, and they're gonna say something about it, or that they feel entitled to say something about it. My blogging kind of became a place for me to reflect and to really unpack the experiences I was holding in my body, and kind of in being embodied in this, like, very, for lack of a better word, this very, like, deviant body that people aren't used to seeing, and they, deny the existence of, even when it's right in front of you. I don't really meet fat queer Asians. I don't know very many. And so even then, in a space that feels really like specific and nuanced, there's still a sense of being separate or not being a part of that community. And I think that's kind of always, I'll always feel that way, that there's never going to be one perfect space. And recognizing that even though I would love to be in like queer, fat, API, like femme, like poor, like kind of all of these different identities in one. That I'm also really grateful for the spaces that I do have. Like working towards, I think representation is really complicated because it's never just you don't ever create something or have a form of representation and then it's just yours. Like once you do it, then other people have access to it and it gets used in ways that maybe you don't want or it wasn't the intention of it. But I also think that it's like without putting that representation out there, how else are other people going to find you, or how will you find them? When I see people like feel supported and loved and part of a like women of color space or like a specific ethnic group like solidarity space, there's some part of me that really, really wants it, I feel like I have this hole in myself that really needs that, so, but I think it's possible, and I think it's there, I just gotta find it. Yeah, that queer, fat, API femme utopia. That's the dream.